Everything has to come to an end eventually. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Hazbin Hotel Season 2, Episode 8. And it sucks. It sucks that this is the end, but we were going to get to it eventually anyways. It's just, I wish there were more episodes per season. This is just a, it's a streaming thing nowadays. Most shows have less than 10 episodes per season. It sucks. But even on top of that, I also just wish that this was like a once a week release instead of 2 episodes a week. Because it's like, the problem is, I can't wait as much as I would like to. Because I've very much noticed it more this season than with season 1, that people are absolute fucking shit with spoilers. Like this, for most things, it tends to be based on like, oh, which series is worse than others. One Piece fans, for example, are horrific with spoilers. They just do not give a shit. And that's not just like random fans either. That's even the big name One Piece YouTubers. They will spoil shit like crazy. They don't give a shit either. Because they think that everybody is going to be reading the manga and not just be an anime only. Sorry, that still irritates me. But, yeah, it depends on things. Because, like, I don't really get spoiled for Dr. Stone at all. Speaking of our other Friday series at the moment. But then it's like, with this, I'm just like, this is something I have had to, like, jump through hoops to avoid spoilers on. And I've been pretty successful. But at the same time, I am, like, having to avoid shit like crazy, especially for this final episode. And it's one of those things where I just couldn't wait. I would have loved to wait. Honestly, like, I shouldn't have even gone to episode, like, 6 by this point. I'm recording this, by the way, on the 21st. Like, if I were going, like, with a once-a-week schedule, I don't think I would even be on episode 6 right now. I think I would be on episode 5 currently. But I've had to kind of rush it with these past few episodes because people are just getting more, like, emboldened to post every spoiler under the sun. And it's been insane. Do you know, like, how much fucking spoilers I saw for the song Easy? Mind you, I saw them after, thankfully, I had reacted to episode 6. But, oh my god, people, like, are insane with that. Like, wow, it was bad. Everyone was talking about it with no filter, no worries about spoiling people. And it's just like, I hate this fucking binge society we live in. Where it's like every show has to be released in like either bingeable full season drops or at the very least batch drops. And I count 2 episodes per week as a batch drop, by the way. And it's just like, I fucking hate this. Because people are so, like, more willing to spoil because they think everybody watches the way they do. And the problem is, it's because a lot of people do. A good amount of people do watch that way. That's why this binge model took off in the first place, and why it's still being used by everyone and their mother. But there are a lot of people who don't like to watch that way, who like to watch week to week. For a number of reasons. Some of them because they're reactors, some of them because they're just people who like to watch that way. And it's like, you can't just assume everybody's going to be watching in the same way as you. And you shouldn't be spoiling people in the first place. Like, I say that there should be at least a week since an episode comes out for you to start talking about it, like, publicly in terms of spoilers. At least a week. And if it's a full, like, season drop, then that week only counts for the first episode. And then you have to have a week in between for each subsequent episode. I know that might sound crazy, but you have to give people the time. Again, not everybody's going to be able to watch. Some people just don't have the fucking time to binge shit. They have jobs, they have lives. And that's not my issue, I just don't like to do it. But I've been forced to, this season, get through these episodes so much quicker. To the point where, like, Wednesday, when these episodes dropped, obviously you're seeing this in the future because I'm still uploading them once a week. But on the day that episodes 7 and 8 dropped, I reacted to 7, and now it's just 2 days later and I'm reacting to 8. Because I'm trying to avoid spoilers. Realistically, I would not be reacting to this for a few weeks if I had my way. I'm irritated. I am very irritated. But last episode, we kind of had the prelude to war. We were preparing for, like, the finale. We got some hope with Emily and the Angels. Baxter is on our side because of bed sheets. Pentious is going to help from his point in heaven. And while Angel is still, you know, being brainwashed and stuff, which obviously isn't good, we've got a lot more hope than we had. A lot more cooperation. And it's starting to veer towards the side of good. Even if there's still some issues. Angel is still brainwashed. Lucifer's still prisoner. Like, Vox is still planning his war and still preparing for it. Even if I don't think it's going to happen at this point, I think we're going to be able to stop it before it actually occurs. I think that's kind of like the only hope at this point. We still haven't really seen much of anything from Lilith. Who knows what Lute is going to do. Because Lute seems to be, like, kind of, like, encouraging Abel to, like, fight rather than stand by. Based on what we saw in the final song of them. There's going to be some problems for sure. We have to deal with Vox. There's the other V's as well. It's not a good situation. We have hope, but things are still kind of fugged. So, at this point, I think we should just get into this. But I am going to say before we do, real quick. I'm just going to say this in the pre-thoughts. I'll probably say it again in the afterthoughts, but I don't think I'm going to do the tier lists today. Unless I'm, like, very confident on, like, placements for things after this episode, which I probably won't be. I don't think we're going to do it today. I think we're going to have to do, like, the tier lists in another video. But I'll talk more about that in the afterthoughts. Let's just get this episode going and see how Season 2 ends. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So right off the bat, I definitely need to watch this more times before I can do the entire, the tier lists and all. I definitely need to, like, I feel like I have a good vibe for the episode, but the one song in this one, because there was only one this time, but mind you, other episodes had three, so balances out enough. I definitely have to listen to that again to really get a good feel for it. Um, my initial vibes are it's okay, but nothing special. It's definitely not one of the better songs of the season. But again, I'm gonna have to. I want to make sure on that. I'm definitely gonna have to make a new list in terms of characters. Um, just because of new characters and like some of the characters who already were there kind of shifted in my opinion. So, and obviously, I'm gonna make an episode tier list to like talk about like which episodes were my favorites and all. I'll put that in one video. It's just gonna be a single video. So it'll be like Hazbin Hotel season 2 tier lists, and I'll have like maybe in brackets it'll say like, oh, characters, episodes, songs, all of that. We'll see. We'll see exactly how I do it, but that will obviously not come out until after this episode airs. So for you seeing this, that doesn't matter too much. But again, I'm recording this weeks in advance. I might put it out on the same day, but we'll see. Either way, either way. Um, this probably went as well as we could have expected. And I say that even with the like one negative that really happened here, which I'll obviously get to. But in terms of stopping this war from even happening, it's like that's kind of what I expected it to happen because we're not going to actually start the war. We didn't have like this big like battle in the same way that season 1 ended, which I'm glad for. It wasn't just repetitious with that. Though we did have a big battle between Vox and Alistair. Alistair, who is now completely free, and in fact has now has a deal with Rosie. I don't think he owns her soul, though. I don't think it's like that kind of a deal. But he definitely has a deal with her. I'm wondering what that is. I'm wondering what her deal with him is. Because he forced her into a deal in order to help. That's all we know about it. It is very fascinating, though, that this did occur. But he's out of that deal, and he got out of Vox's deal. And it's like, yeah. It was wordplay and stuff. That's pretty much how he got out of both. Because by using his deal with Charlie to force her to cash in on that favor and make her say that Vox is the most powerful sinner, that acknowledgement voided his deal with her. And then Vox, being like emboldened by that, laid his hands on Charlie's shoulders, and because of how Alistair worded their deal, that allowed him to break his deal with Vox, completely setting him free. So that's fascinating for a number of reasons. He figured all of that out while like sitting at the statue of Charlie and her parents outside of Rosie's. That's fascinating for so many reasons. Because he had to think of like his deal with Charlie. He had to think of like how to utilize that to get back at Vox, which also allowed him to get through the deal with Rosie. So it's so many stages that he thought of pretty quickly, if we're being honest. But yeah, let's talk about the stuff with Angel now, because this one obviously was the big like sad part of the episode, the big downfall part of the episode, the one negative that came out of all of this in the end. Angel, because of being mind controlled and because of like the pain of knowing he was being controlled to act as a spy this entire time. When Husk and Cherry find him, he's super drunk and isn't really going to cooperate well. He does help them, like, take down, the WMD, but afterwards he chooses to leave. He chooses to stay with Val, leave the hotel completely, leave behind Cherry and Husk, because he's afraid. He came to literally choking Cherry, his best friend. He's been spying on the hotel and ruining everything. And yeah, we obviously know it wasn't his fault, and I think deep down he does too. But he still blames himself. It's like, it's something that he can't help from blaming himself. He feels responsible because technically speaking, he is. And it's destroyed his self-worth. I kind of wonder, though, if Angel had gotten redeemed, would that have, like, broken his contract with Val? How would that work? Because Val owns his soul. But would redemption, like, supersede that? Would redemption just, like, override any demon contract? I don't know how that works. But it's very clear that with Angel now too afraid to be near any of his friends, we're going to have to get him out of the contract. That's the big thing. And considering Val is taking over for Vox Tech, now that Vox is just, ahead, I feel like Val's going to either go on a power trip as well, or at the very least, he's just going to be hard to deal with. He's not going to make the same mistakes Vox will, I don't think, but he's definitely going to be a problem. And I don't think he's just going to give Angel, like, away. I don't think he's going to do that for obvious reasons. So this is not going to, I feel, go well in that regard. But we're definitely going to have to touch on that next season, obviously. But yeah, it's like, it's the one sad, one down part of this all. But it couldn't have ended any other way. It had to end like that based on everything it had set up with. Like, it needed to do that. It sucks, but it did. And then we have Abel. Abel this entire season has been very timid, very nervous, taking over, like, his father's job, but also, he's not really confrontational like myself, actually. I am very non-confrontational like that, so I can very much understand it. But by the end, he finally does stand up against Lute. Lute was kind of like controlling him in a way and leading him into certain things because she's obviously a lot more confident, a lot more direct. But Abel knew that the thing she was doing, what she was trying to accomplish here, was wrong, and he struggled with it, as we saw during the song. We got, like, a great verse from Patrick Stump, showing off his singing chops. Lead singer of Fall Out Boy, so it makes sense. And so we got to see, like, how he, like, worked through it to be able to gain the confidence enough to stand up to her. And through putting on the mask and, like, having that confidence, he kind of radiated his father's energy in a way, which did cause Lute to back down. For, again, pretty obvious reasons. Lute is definitely going to continue her path into insanity, and she is definitely going to be a problem next season still. We're not just getting rid of that, obviously. But I'm glad that Abel has a lot more confidence now to be able to handle stuff like that. Baxter really should have, like, focused on getting things taken care of a lot quicker and everything. Like, I understand, like, he and Nifty have, like, bonded, and, like, seeing Nifty fighting Velvet was fun for him, and he was, like, getting excited and rooting Nifty on. Like, that's cute. And it's like, I know this is a thing, I absolutely know this is going to be a thing with the fandom. Yes, I do ship them. I actually do, and I'm actually kind of surprised by it because it almost came out of nowhere. But there were little hints in the background. Like we saw them interacting even in the background, like playing patty cake and stuff. They've been like bonding all season. So it's not out of nowhere, weirdly enough. There's actually been setup for it. And it's like, you don't want to just like ship them just cuz they're both small. It's like it's kind of like almost a stereotype in that way. But they actually have chemistry. Like weirdly enough, like you saw how serious Nifty actually got in protecting Baxter, fighting off Velvet to do so. Like she was actually like not acting super crazy, but was actually like pretty serious and pretty like focused, which is wild. I think Baxter might be good for her. Like genuinely. I think Baxter might help her like be able to calm the fuck down a little bit. That's wild as a ship. But yeah, Baxter got way too distracted, and he could have absolutely gone things back up and running, got Pentious on the TVs faster. He just got very distracted. I can't entirely blame him for that, but it's like I was getting a little annoyed during the reaction. I was kind of like wishing it's like, okay, focus, my dude. Come on. I was getting a little annoyed. But it was cute, so it was like, okay, I'm a little annoyed, but also I kind of enjoy this too. And it just added some tension. But Pentious just got it working himself in the end anyway, showing, that he is also a genius. And he got to have like a talk with Cherry, and it was so fucking cute. But now everybody in hell knows that redemption works. And the hotel, as we saw at the end, is doing exceptionally well because people actually want to get redeemed. They actually know it's possible now, and they want it genuinely for, as Charlie put it, the right reasons. That's a huge step because yeah, at the beginning of the season, the hotel was getting a lot of attention because of the battle with Adam. People are like, "Oh, this is the Angel Killer Hotel now." But now at the end, they're actually coming because they want to be redeemed. And we see a bunch of people there who were there before. We see Rooster. We see the Tree Lady. We see a couple other background characters who we saw at the beginning of the season. And it's like, it's these same people, too, who are trying to get redeemed. That's so good. That's so fascinating. We're actually making, like, a big amount of progression with this. And that's huge. That's like necessary. Like we have to have progression for this story to work. The fights with Val and Velvet were pretty good. I enjoyed those. The Velvet one seemed to have like a little more put into it, I would say. It was a little more interesting between her and Nifty, and I like when she like fell out of the window and like burst into pieces because she's a doll. And also you saw like her hair kind of burnt away, which I guess kind of proves that it is her hair. It's not a wig. But it's like she was bald for a moment. It did come back when she reformed. But yeah, that was interesting in and of itself. Um, I also like at the end when they're like, somehow using their power to spirit bomb the weapon away. That was confusing, but um I like how all the overlords start joining in. And it starts with Carmilla. Carmilla's the first one who finally sees reason and helps Vaggie. But then like everyone else starts coming because they just don't want to die. Like let's be honest. That's why they were doing it. That's because even Velvet and Val joined in because they don't want to die. And then Vox is just like, again, he's ahead now because Val just tore his head off his body. So he's just stuck in there, not able to do anything anymore. And just kind of being like thrown aside. He's just, I don't think he's going to be a problem anymore. He might like continue to show up like with the V's, but he's not going to be an issue anymore. Now, obviously, the biggest part of this is the ending. After leaving another message to Lilith, she finally calls back. Lilith finally calls Charlie. And we don't get to hear her voice. We don't know anything about that. But she does finally call back. And let me make sure I get the name right. There is one actress I want to play Lilith. I mean, I'm sure whoever it is going to be good, even if it's not who I want. But there is one specific actress I want to play her. And I can't remember her name right now, so I want to make sure. Lea Salonga. Lea Salonga is who I would love to see play Lilith. Will it happen? Honestly, who fucking knows? There's a lot that could go into that. But for those who don't know, Lea Salonga is a Tony Award-winning Broadway star. She is also an actress and voice actress. You might know her from Centaur World, where she was the woman. But she is also known as the singing voices of Princess Jasmine in Aladdin and Fa Mulan in the Mulan movies. So, you know, like, she's got a great voice, and we know that. Especially for Mulan. But, like, she's done a lot. She has done a lot on screen in terms of film and television. Apparently she's in Sophia the First as well. But she's been on Broadway since, like, the early 90s. She's been in Miss Saigon. She's been in Les Miserables. The King and I, Annie, Grease. She's done so much. Cats, Sweeney Todd, Into the Woods. She is a big name in terms of Broadway. And her singing talent is obviously phenomenal. She is my number one choice to play Lilith. If Vivzy Pop and the team could get her to play Lilith, I mean, if that happens, I will freak out. Like, I will genuinely freak out. Because it's like, she is my dream cast. And I don't do dream casts that much anymore. I used to do that a lot when I was younger, but I don't really do that anymore because I just kind of, like, let the casting directors and everything, like, figure out who works best for the characters and all. But again, Lea Salonga is, like, a big dream casting for me. It's kind of like with it's kind of like with the One Piece live action. I know this is a weird comparison, but hear me out. The One Piece live action, I have had multiple, like, dream castings for who could play certain characters. And one of the big ones was Xolo Maridueña, who I wanted to play Portgasty Ace, Luffy's brother. And just recently, the One Piece live action revealed that in season 3, Xolo will actually be Ace. And I freaked out. Like, I had a whole geek out moment when that was revealed, because that was a dream casting. That was, he was like, I mean, and not just for me, everybody wanted him to play Ace. It would have been the same thing if Jamie Lee Curtis had been cast as Dr. Kureha, and she was going to be. She wanted to do it. The creators of the live action, the showrunners wanted her, but scheduling conflict kept it from happening. But yeah, it's like, she obviously was another dream casting that I would have freaked out at. But, like, for this, again, if Lea Salonga voices Lilith, like, that would be an absolute dream come true. That would be, like, the perfect voice. Again, do not know if we'll get it. Cannot say. But that would be, like, my personal choice. I will say this. And I don't think this is going to happen, but I wish that it's not revealed who voices Lilith before the premiere of season 3. I don't want them to reveal it. They probably will, but I don't want them to. I want them to keep that a secret. Like, whether it's Lea Salonga or anyone else, I want it to be kept a secret. Because I feel like that would be better to be revealed, like, with the show. So I hope we don't get that information. One thing to note, though, is that apparently I have heard that Vivziepop has said it'll be about the same amount of time between season 2 and 3 as it was between season 1 and 2, which was like a year and 10 months. So, ugh. We're going to be waiting a while. There's not going to be more Hazbin Hotel until 2027. That, like, mid-2027, too. That sucks. That sucks that we're going to have to wait that long for more. And that really makes me hope that we get plenty of Hell of a Boss in 2026 to kind of, like, bridge the gap and give us something from the Helliverse. Because, like, having to wait, like, that long again is gonna suck. But apparently it will be a lot shorter of a time until season 4 after season 3, because 3 and 4 are going to be worked on concurrently due to the fact that they were greenlit at the same time. So once season 3 comes out, season 4 will be a lot quicker. And that's good. That's really good. But again, we have to wait so long until season we have to wait till 2027 until season 3. That sucks. But if it, like, gives the best product possible, it's going to be worth it. So I'm willing to wait as long as the product is worth it. But yeah, like I said, I will be doing some tier lists for, like, again, episodes, characters, songs. And that will go up probably the same day as this does, but I will be taking some time to record, so I'll be recording that, like, a different day or week or whatnot. So keep that in mind when you do see that, because when you, like, watch this and then watch that video is going to be recorded well after I recorded this. At least some notable time after. So just letting you understand that right off the bat. But I'm sure there's some stuff I missed talking about. It's just going to be the case. So if there's anything that I didn't mention that you specifically do want to hear my thoughts on, please feel free to ask down in the comments below. And for now, just let me know your thoughts on this finale, on this season. I thought the season as a whole was really good. I don't know if I'd say it's better or not than season 1 at the moment. Again, that's something I'm really going to have to think about. But I thought it was still really, really good. I will say Vox was a phenomenal villain, and honestly a much better villain than Adam. I don't care, I'll say it. Vox was a better villain than Adam. But I'm going to leave this here for today. So thank you again so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.